Again, we're outside with the traffic, so bear with me. This right here is a huge, huge pine knot. And what we're going to do is we're going to go step by step, and I'm going to show you how to take the wood off using power. A couple of options actually, and then I'm going to show you how to carve it with power, the whole thing. Okay. One of the tools I like to use for stuff like this, I know I've used my Arbortech mini grinder to show you guys how to get cottonwood bark off. Alright, you can use the Arbortech also on this. If you can't afford an Arbortech, there's a blade that you can buy for a 4-inch grinder, for 4.5-inch grinder. That's called the Lancelot. It goes on, looks like this. Okay, it's a chainsaw, mounts onto any 4.5-inch grinder, pretty standard. This works wonders for getting this rough surface off of the pine knots. And when you're carving a pine knot, believe me, if you can't get that off, you are not going to be able to carve it. Alright, you have to get down to that carvable wood. So this, as opposed to the Arbortech, which is $250, alright, this right here, $40, $60 this blade. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this. That way you can at least collect one of these and a 4-inch grinder. It's cheap, you know, and you'll be able to do stuff like this. Right, everything else you can collect as we go that we're talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up, and I'm going to take this surface off, and I'll show you how that works. You got to kind of do it, hold it like this. You can do this, right, and then we can also use it like this, and it really does a good job on these pine knots. So let me show you how that works. As you can see, that makes short work of that pine knot, which is almost impossible to get that stuff off without some kind of power tool. Okay, now we're down to the carvable wood, and we can go from there. But that's how you want to take care of a big guy like this. Quick tip of the day, also the first section in carving this pine knot. Okay, the next step once we get to this phase is we're going to have to figure out where we want our dimensions. So what I did is I got me a nice little grease crayon here, and I'm just going to figure out about how I want this guy to look. I might draw his hair the way I want it to go. Okay, give me a kind of a dimension. Sometimes I just like to use a black marker, which is maybe what I should have used for you guys, but to see this video better. I'm going to put his eye ridge there. Probably his nose will be about here. Just trying to give myself an idea. And of course the mustache, we want that mustache to sweep right into. I'm thinking something like that. These aren't set in stone. They never are. Okay. I'm thinking something like that. Okay. Now from there, we're going to go to the next bit. that bit we're going to use in our Dremel. It's going to be a flame style Typhoon bit. We'll go to the next bit and start carving him out. Okay, I zoomed in here so you can see what I'm going to do. And I'm going to take my first cut and I'm going to run right across this eye bridge here. Okay, straight across. Got the bit in the Dremel. That's all we're doing. We're making a groove across, and we're going to use that for his eyebrow line, right, or his eye bridge. Next, we're going to make a cut from there down on the sides, and we're going to cut the nose out. Okay? Round it off a little. These bits work great on these pine knots, right? I'm making this one very simplistic, very easy to understand, hopefully. Okay, that's our next cut. We're going to go into the hair next. Okay, this time we're going to do the hair. We're going to come up to the top, up here, and run that bit down and define the outside. Okay, kind of so we can sink that face into it then. So, back to the bit. Brush that off a little so we can see where we're at. Now you don't have to follow this exact drawing if you don't have an idea how to draw one. I know I didn't really cover that too much, but you can just draw whatever you want on the wood and then carve it out with the same idea that I'm doing. Alright, if you do have a problem with that, I do have patterns, and I'm going to hook them up, hook you guys up with actually patterns that you can use for these, and at least pictures so you can draw wood spirits on the wood if you're not quite the artist. Okay. I know some people have trouble with drawing, but after you make so many of these, they're pretty easy. All right, we're going to go to the mustache next. Okay, now we're going to be cutting the mustache out. Same bit for the whole thing here we're using. All right, Typhoon Flame. see how hard this stuff is, even with this bit. You do have to take your time. Be careful. I like to let that run into the natural state too. I'm going to round it off. So round off that mustache as much as you can during this phase. And we can start to see our wood spirit starting to form. Another important part is up in here. We want to cut that out so the hair really stands out. So we're going to do that while I'm here. Maybe take the mustache up into here also. Okay, so back to the bit. I just take any of that stuff off that I don't like. Brush them off a little. That's going to really help make it stand out when we carve the hair up in there. Okay, and also these Typhoon bits, they are what I prefer. You can use these on smaller. This is a big wood spear. Okay, but you can use carbide cutters that you get in the hardware store. You can use all kinds of bits. I'm recommending in my series the Typhoons because I know how they work, and I think they work the best for big jobs, all right, and for the little jobs. So it's up to you, but experiment. You don't have to stick with these tools. Once you have a couple of ideas of how to get the wood off and what tools you can use with power, you'll be able to carve a lot of these and just, you know, figure out your own system. Okay, I zoomed in a little bit so you can see even better what I'm doing. I just wish the traffic would slow down here today. It's a little noisy. What we're going to do is cut in a bottom lip here, and then we're going to use our Lancelot again to take some of this beard down, okay, because he's way too high here for what I'm looking for. But what I want to do first is, while I have the wood up here, is to make some kind of lip that I can work with, at least leave enough wood there for one. Okay, so I'm going to go under here, under the mustache. I'm just going to cut across. Corner it out. Smooth it out, get those lines off. See where we're at. And maybe up in here. kind of clean them up as I go and get the lines off. Okay, here's your brush. He's a hard one. He's very hard wood. It's good. He's going to make an awesome carving. Okay, what I'm going to do is we'll come up here and we're going to go straight down and separate those eyebrows. We're going to take it all the way up into the top just like that. Okay. Then we're going to deepen the corners of the nose here. From the top down. Just a little bit will do you. Okay. That way it'll be easy to shape that out. We have to extend those eyelids, or eyebrows anyway. We're going to extend those over a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to clean up the top of his head up in here, right, and get that crease out, flatten it out kind of, okay? Dig up in there a little bit more. Line that out, then on this side. We're coming from the top down, rounding towards the nose. Kind of soften the transition into the nose there by rounding it and rounding it in towards the nose. Okay, we'll brush them off. And he's starting to shape up pretty good. Okay, I zoomed out a little bit so you get to see this. Now you use whatever you have. You can even use chisels, like I said. Alright, but I'm going to take out underneath his mustache more. I think I'm going to use the Arbitech. It has a little more control if I don't want to take as much off. If all you have is a Lancelot, I would use that too. Alright, it's not either one is wrong. It's just Arbitech's a little bit more versatile, so I'm going to use that for my carving. And I want to take that down right here and try to leave a little bit of the natural wood. We're going to try and fan stuff in and clean it up, and maybe clean the mustache up and plunge cut on the sides a little maybe. But we're going to mainly work on getting this part lower than the mustache. Okay? Okay, so here we go. Okay, now that's nice and low. Now we can go back to our flame burr and we can clean them up a little bit more. First, before we do that though, I think what I'm going to do is get a ball out. We're going to take the cheeks down, clean them up more, try and get all that nice wood to fan into the other parts where we're leaving the bark on. So I'm going to change tools and I'll be back. Okay, now that we have him to this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a steel ball. Alright, this is another Typhoon bit. Alright, now you can use a regular steel ball out of, from a Dremel. Alright, any of these tools. And remember, at this stage, once you get the hard surface off of all this, all the material off of these things, you know, this tough stuff, you can just do everything with chisels and knives if you don't have these tools yet. Okay, so anyway you would carve a cottonwood bark piece or whatever, you would do the same thing. You just use your chisels. I advise using a mallet though. Okay, and you can do everything until you can start getting some of the power tools. And most of these that I'm using you can purchase and then use in a Dremel. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this Typhoon burr. It's a round one. Alright, so you can see it. And I'm going to deepen the eye sockets. I'm going to make some ridges in his mustache. Maybe take down, round everything off. Okay. Not really going to go too crazy with it. Just in spots I see that I want a little more depth or whatever. I'm going to use a round burr for. Okay. So here we go. Try and get in on the sides of that nose real good. I'm also going to put some ridges in his mustache here, alright, with the bowl, and maybe some nostril holes. Okay, we'll do those first. This side. But basically what we did there is we made some ridges that we can run our V tool through later. Alright. And we just started a little nostril hole here. We're going to get the chisels out and we'll show you how they cut through this. Or we can keep going with power. I can do one with power and one with the chisel if you like. To get those deep lines and the hard cuts. But for now we're still sticking to power and we're still using this little ball. I'm going to make some lines down here for his beard to give that a little bit more shape. We deepen and smooth the transition from his cheeks into the hair here on the sides. Okay, so for now, just watch. Taking that down there by the seat, under the seat. It's a little lower than the mustache over here on the side. Make that mustache stand out. Same on this side. Okay. You see that okay? Okay. So now we can get I'll get a cylinder bit and show you guys what that is. And we'll start doing some more detail now that we got some of this lower. We got some ridges in it to break up the contrast a little. And when you get that cylinder bit out, I'm going to shape his nose a little bit more with this one. And then we'll start putting some detail lines in for his eyelids and stuff. Okay, we're going to start putting a couple of lines on here with power so I can show you what the certain bits do. We roughed him out, of course, with a Lancelot or an Arbitec. Got all the hard surface, this stuff off. All right. Then we went to our Typhoon Flame bit, okay, which was this pointed one right here. Okay, it's a Typhoon coarse flame bit, all right, and that will cut just about the mustache out there, everything that we did there, right? Rounded it off with another Typhoon ball, smoothed it up, put some grooves in it, all right? That was the ball that we just used. Let me show you that once again. That would have been this bit here. Okay. I gotta clean them up. By the way, it's got a little lint on them. I put them in my pocket. When you have to clean these, see how they load up? When you have to clean one of these bits, just burn it with a torch and then hit it with a wire brush. It'll take all that stuff off. They do load up on you. That takes it right off. If you don't know that, you'll be going crazy trying to get that stuff out. Burn it with a torch, hit it with a wire brush, it'll clean it right off. Okay, that's the way to clean those. This is our next bit, and it's a cylinder bit. Okay, just a little cylinder. You can get these in any hardware store, right, in the Dremel section. Put it in your Dremel. It's 1/8 inch shank. All right, and you can use this for making eyelids, doing eyelashes, stuff like that, even going around the nose, anywhere you want to make a groove, kind of like a V-tool groove. All right, you can do that with this bit. All right, not quite like a flame bit, but this cylinder is a little bit, cuts a little bit different, and let me show you how that's used. What we're going to do, I'm not going to draw it, but I am going to make an eyelid here to show you how you use it. Okay, now at the angle and trying to keep this in the camera, it's a little funky, but basically what I did was I made an eyelid there, straight across with that bit, right? I'll do it a little bit better. Kind of hard to see with pine. It tends to get all that sappy look in there. Can you see that? All right. Now I do recommend when you do this that you lower underneath the eyelid too. All right. Don't just make a line across, but lower. You can probably see it better on this side when I do this one. But you want to lower that underneath so you can shape an eye in there. It's going to come straight across. Then lower underneath. Okay, we'll give that a check. It doesn't look too bad. Alright, so took the wood out, went across, now he's got eyelids. Now I'm going to clean those up with my V-tool and a mallet. Alright. You can also run your knife through there. But the V-tool, if I can get in there with this one. So I have this setting back at an angle, so it's a little tough for me to get at it, but it seems to be best for filming. So, and I'm going to do this side here. You'll be able to see that better. You should always try and start in the middle of the V-tool, and then work your way to the corners. There we go. See that one pretty good. Okay. But that's all we did there. The V-tool and a knife tend to bring that line out. It's a lot sharper, a lot deeper, but you can do it with power, like I just showed you. We're going to keep that cylinder bit on, go around the nose here. Oh, first of all, let's do up here. We'll do the hairline first so you get to see how that brings that out. There we go. So a lot of people ask, how do you get stuff dug in and way up and under there? And a lot of times these bits will do it, okay? And you can really dig up in there. Don't be afraid to dig up in there and get that out. So that's what we're doing with this bit. We're also going to do it across the top. A lot of times I like to use a different bit. You don't have to use this exact bit. I just want to show you what this bit does. For instance, if I wanted to do a mustache hair with this bit, the cylinder does a pretty good job of that. On this edge, it'll deepen those. Separation's pretty nice, you know. Real good for digging up in the hair. Also very good for making eyebrows. Okay. So you can see you can put some detail on with that bit. And then once you put a stain on, these are hard to see in the camera because they're so light and the dust is so light and it really tends to cake up in there. You gotta brush it out and it takes away from the shadow, I know, on camera, but you get the idea what I'm doing with that bit. Alright. Now basically when you get to this stage though, I recommend using all your chisels and gouges like you do normally. Alright. Once this stuff is off, you can rough stuff out with power. Like I said, it makes it a lot easier. But once it's down to this clean wood, use your chisels on it. It makes for a lot better wood spirit, a lot more hand-carved look than powered. Right? We're going to turn this guy with chisels and hand tools into a really well-defined looking, give him a real good hand-carved look instead of, we don't want him to look like he was carved with power, of course. We want him to look like we just took the chisels and V-tools and went crazy on them. Alright. So I'm going to get some of those out and we're going to come back and start detailing him up. Okay, before I get to the V-tool and some gouge work, because I really want to show you guys the tools, like I said, and the techniques to do them with power. And I really don't like using some of my good tools on the pine knots, to tell you the truth, because they do tend to dull them. Okay, but sometimes you just have to do what you got to do. This ridge right here I made with a gouge. All right, just took a gouge like this. I want to show you. See that gouge? All right, and basically ran it through to break up some contrast in the hair. A little bit more realistic flow, and it's not so hard. Okay, and I do that around the hair before running a V-tool in or whatever, alright, or a power tool, right? So that's basically what I did there. And from there, if I wanted to put my hard line through, you can use your basic V-tool, alright? But again, you're going to have to use a mallet on these, right? Now what I like to do is go back to that cylinder bit, alright? Run that through there. If you don't have your or a hand tool, so you want to clip it. And that's basically how you can start detailing that stuff out. Can you guys see that okay? Okay. We want to make another cut up in here to really bring that eyelid out. So I'm using the cylinder bit for that. Okay. This one right here. Go up. I'm just digging that out to get that shadow I want. I can clean that up easily with a knife. Alright. Or just keep working at it. Till you get it the way you want. You gotta brush it out so you can see what you're doing. But you see how that made that shadow and that made that eyelid really pop, okay? Don't be afraid to dig up and underneath that eyebrow. Alright, we're gonna do the same on the other side. If you guys can see it. Try and get it in for you here. Really zoomed in on it there. I'm gonna go right up and underneath there. Try to save the eyelid. Watch out, these will jump on you a little bit. Right? Just keep working at it. Taking out wood where you want. So you get it the way you like it. See, now he's got that baggy, shadowy look up above his eyes there. And then we can clean the bottom up a little bit here, that eyebrow. Same bit. Okay? There you go. Alright, let's focus on the eyes a little bit more here. I want to take a gouge. Or better yet, we'll keep the power going. I'll switch bits here. We'll go back to the flame bit. Very versatile. I love these Typhoons. Alright, this flame bit here is what we're using. Put it in your Dremel or your Fordham, like I have here. Right, what I'm gonna do is try and get this nose shaped a little bit more. So I'm gonna start with at an angle here and try and kind of fan it back this way into that cheek and start digging around the side of the nose with this, right? So here we go. Do that, and I do it on the other side. I might get in the camera because I'm going to have to walk on this side. I'll try not to, but my nose might be a little weird. So maybe I'll just save that one. I'll do underneath here and get the nostril first. Cut yourself out a little bit of a nostril there underneath, right? Same on this side. Trying to keep the nose fairly symmetrical. And then come up here, try and fan that back into the cheek. Let it go right into the cheek. Pushing back, pushing back. See the thing start looking like the other side. With the brush. What's nice about these typhoons, you could go right around shape. All I did was run it around the side and dug down deep in here, run it around the side. And you want to clean it up and get it to go up towards the eyes on the sides here. Around it, smooth it all together. Shape them as you go. Just like the nose you want. Get deep down in here. Then on this side, really deep at the bottom. Keep it clean. And go it in. A little more nostril. So it's a matter of playing with these bits and seeing what they can do for you. And at the end, it's always about cleaning it up with chisels and knives and picking some shadows out of it where you didn't have, you know. And I'm just going to go around and use this bit now and get a little more depth in places where I see I would want, and then do the eyes. So I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to take this bit, I'm going to go around, maybe dig the mustache in a little more, get under his mouth, you know, just kind of walk around the carving, get up in here a little bit more with this typhoon flame. Around the sides of the mustache, dig those out, just like you would if you were carving another wood spirit out of cottonwood bark or whatever. Maybe deepen under his lip in the corners, you know, maybe deepen the beard lines a little. I'm just going to do all that with this bit, alright? Now if you like him the way he is, you don't have to. And then I'll come back and we'll work on putting his eyes and some wrinkles in. So I'm going to deepen all these lines that I have already with this bit. Maybe go around his hair, okay? And I'll be back. Okay, I deepened him a little bit over here in the corner with that typhoon. All I did with the flame bit here. Just go in here and went around with that. Came over here in the corner, dug it in a little more, went around his hair a little bit, kind of brought it into the other parts of the carving where I wanted to kind of flare into it. Okay, just down the mustache a little more. I'm probably going to get up underneath a little more. I'm just trying to save tape here. Underneath the cheeks, you know, wherever you want a little more shadow and him to stick out. Went underneath the cheek up in here, underneath the cheek here, and you can always go under the hair here a little more, right? So that's all I did was I went around it and made things deeper where I wanted them to. Cut it out if it didn't seem dug out enough. The spot here yet. I'd like to dig out more. And you wanted it a little deeper. Pretty straight for it. Remember, we haven't even put our V-tool through these yet. Sometimes you can get deep enough with power that you don't even need to run a chisel or a V-tool through there. He'll just look fine the way he is, okay? See that? Alright, now, I'm going back to the eyes because I want to show you what I want to do with, let me see, a little too zoomed in there. This right here is going to be a micro gouge, right? Trying to get it clear for you. Just a little micro gouge. Alright, see a sweep on it? Right? It's not too big. You don't have to use a micro gouge. You could do this with a knife. Alright, take the chips out like we've shown you in other videos. Sorry, I keep zooming in and out. And hold on there. Phone. And what we're going to do is take the corners out to form that eye, and what I like to use there is a micro gouge. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up in here, on this side here first, or maybe I'll do this side so you can see it a little better. Alright, I'll come over here, and right in the corner here I'm just going to dig that corner out. Okay, just like that. Come down by the eyelid and come down this way, and that's how I like to take the corners out on these pine knots. Okay, of course we're going to have to have a little eye mound, shape our eyeball. And the same thing on this side. I'm going to come from the bottom, dig up, and come down from the top and scoop a little bit of that out. Alright, just work back and forth from the top, from the bottom. Okay, back to the top. And just scoop some wood out there in the corners. Right? Now to make that line pop out above there, usually what I would do is I would take my knife, but we'll do that later. Let's do the other eye for now. Take a scoop out. Come down from the top, take a scoop out, get that corner nice and deep. Right? And even do a little more on the top of this side. I better look at it at the angle. One a little deeper there. Okay. Okay. Same on this side. Come up, scoop it out. Scoop it out. We're trying to keep that roundness. This will start shaping in that eyeball that we want. But this is tough stuff. Like I said, if you're doing it with your knife, I recommend being real careful you don't break your tip. You can use a skew, hammer it into the sides and take those chips out. I just myself prefer a micro gouge. Now I'm going to take my knife, not my knife, my V-tool, and just run it across the top there just a little bit. See where I'm at. Using a mallet again. Again, extending those eyelids. I like to take wood out in the corners there. Like so. Now clean up a little more with that micro gouge. And make sure I have what I'm looking for in the corners, which is a nice deep little valley that gives me the appearance of his eyes rounded. Doesn't look right, keep working at it, right? Oops, sorry, I keep kicking the tripod that I have the camera on there. Sorry about that. Okay, can you see that? Alright. So now we have that roundness that we're looking for. Okay. Now basically with these micro gouges, if I wanted to put the pupil in, it's the same thing. We want to start straight in, twist it in. You can tap it and then start twisting under. So start straight, start tilting down as you twist and try and get up under that lid. Okay. And taking that out. And you want to start straight in, give it a turn, and then as you're turning, kind of tilt it downward and get up and under that lid. Then we can use our knife to pop out the top. And we'll get that there. This one over here. Excuse my arm. At least setting those holes in. I can always change them a little bit later if I want them bigger. For now, I just want to see about where I want to place them. Usually I like to make them looking off to one side. You don't want them usually right in the middle. I know every carver says that, but it's true. You don't want them just looking like he's staring off straight ahead, because they just don't look as realistic that way. Okay. Again, he's leaning back, so you're not going to see the shadow that he's got until we take him down. Now these micro gouges are also good for this. If you didn't get the nose right, you can get a bigger scoop micro gouge. You see that? This is still a micro gouge, but it's got a little bigger sweep on it, a little bigger. And they work great for scooping out those nostrils, okay? And really getting some depth in there. So any problems you have forming more realistic nostrils, these things can really get in there. And if not, use a regular gouge. Okay. These are dockyards, by the way. I got them at Woodcraft, a place called Woodcraft. You can look them up online, woodcraft.com. Okay. Now, basically, we could take a V-tool and run some lines underneath there, or we could use a knife and then round those eyeballs in. I'd have to go get my knife to finish up the eyes, but what you have, I'll do a quick one with the V-tool. And what you have pretty much is your wood spirit. Pretty well made. You put some polyurethane on them or whatever, you have a really big piece. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in just a little so you can see some of the eye detail. Start about in the middle. And I'm just going to tap a nice little bag in there. Do another one. V-tool. Start in the middle. They don't have to be identical. You are trying to make them symmetrical, though. Okay. As far as the first line. Second line is just a bag. You can throw some crow's feet in there. And if you're going to use a V-tool on these, I really recommend you tap it lightly with a mallet. Any of your tools, these guys are very hard. Now I'm going to go around and deepen all my lines. And there's your first experience with wood spirit, carved with power. I like to go inside the nose here, make some sharper cuts with the V-tool, go around it. And of course some mustache. I'll run some lines up in there. Alright, so I'm going to go around detailing, just using the V-tool. And deepening all my power lines. see how he starts popping. We're going to do a lot of these in different ways. We'll do one with all chisels. You can find these pine knots in the forest. Go look for a dead pine tree that's been laying down for a long time. Okay, and what these are is the branches that stick out of the trunk. You'll see something like this sticking out of the trunk. Most of the trunk will rot away. This is inside the trunk. That's solid pitch. Alright, that's why it's so hard, but it won't rot. And if the tree's rotted enough, you can pull these right out, or they'll just be laying on the forest floor. You can kick them out of the trunk. Sometimes you find a tree with 50 of them on it. It's really good. This is a rather large one. Right, but that's how you find them, and they make for really wicked carving, so as you can see. And once you put some finish on them and everything, and a couple of wrinkles, these things really make for a great carving. They outlast you, your grandkids. They're not going to rot ever. And you can sell them for really good money if they're nice. People love to collect these. Call them the old man of the forest or wood spirit. Sometimes they'll chip out a little. But you can sand them. When you sand them, they come out really nice. You know, when you're hammering away, whatever falls off, let it fall off. You'll get to the good wood and it won't break. It'll just carve. Okay. And you just go around and detail them any way you want. Put a little more lines in. He's pretty much done. Okay. You can add lines wherever you want. I can sand him down. Alright, but there you have your first pine knot